Hello viewers, welcome to another lecture of digital communication. This lecture is totally conducted by Ganon, powered by Wishback Technology. I am Professor Aritra De. In this segment, we are going to discuss BFSK demodulation. So, let us have a recap what we have discussed in our earlier lecture. We have discussed in our earlier lecture BFSK modulation. Let us consider a message signal with a bit sequence 100111101 is going to be modulated by a carrier signal. But in case of the BFSK, two carrier signal is used. One with a carrier of high frequency and one with a carrier of low frequency. Now whenever the bit is 1, the high frequency carrier is used, and when the bit is 0, low frequency carrier is used. In this way, the message signal is totally modulated by two carrier signal. This conception is known as binary frequency shift keying. Now let us discuss BFSK demodulated block. The BFSK signal is passed through two multiplier. In one multiplier, the frequency is cos 2 pi fc1t, and in another multiplier, the frequency is cos 2 pi fc2t. The multiplier signal is then passed through an integrator. What is the function of the integrator? This integrator will act as a low-pass filter. After that, two output is generated. One is L1t, another is L2t. This L1t and L2t will be compared with each other. When the L1 and L2, the output compared, the output will be 1 if L1 is greater than L2. And output will be 0 otherwise. That means L1 is less than L2. So, a message signal is totally modulated by two frequencies, as you can see in the figure. After the demodulation, the totally modulated signal, that means the message signal, is retrieved back, as you can see in the figure. Now, let us have a compare with ASK and the FSK. The comparison parameter first is variable characteristics. In case of the binary ASK, the parameter is amplitude. But in case of the binary FSK, the parameter is frequency. What is the bandwidth in case of binary ASK? The bandwidth in case of the binary ASK is 2 FB, where FB is the frequency of the message signal. And what is the bandwidth in case of the binary FSK? In this case, the bandwidth will be 4 FB. That means bandwidth is doubled. Now let us discuss about the noise immunity. Noise immunity in case of the ASK is low, and in case of the BFSK, it is high. That means BFSK will perform better in presence of the noise. So, what is the probability of the error? Probability of the error in amplitude shift keying is high, and in binary frequency shift keying, it is low. So, performance in case of the binary FSK, it is poor, and in binary FSK, it is better than ASK. Now let us discuss about the system complexity. The system complexity of the ASK is simple because of the block diagram and the input and output. But in case of the FSK, it is moderately complex. Now let us discuss bit rate or data rate. The bit rate in case of the ASK is 100 bits per second. But in case of the BFSK, it is 1200 bits per second. That means very high compared to ASK. What is the demodulation method in case of the ASK? It is envelope detection. Also, it is true in case of the binary FSK. That means envelope detection is used in case of the binary FSK. Now let us discuss the advantage of BFSK. BFSK is relatively easy to implement rather than other modulation technique. It has better noise immunity than the other modulation technique. Here, the probability of error is low. Now, can you tell me what is the disadvantage of BFSK? the BFSK has a high bandwidth requirement. That means to transmit a signal, a large number of frequencies required. So it is one disadvantage. Also, the bit rate is very high in case of the BFSK. That is a disadvantage of BFSK. What is the application of BFSK? The BFSK is applied in telephone line or optical fiber signal transmission. That means during the transmission in optical fiber or telephone line, binary frequency shift keying modulation and demodulation is used in two terminals. In caller ID and remote monitoring application, this BFSK is used for modulation and demodulation. In Bluetooth technology, that is that you use in your regular life or your daily life, in this case, the BFSK is essential. The radio frequency identification, that means RFID technology, used this binary frequency shift keying. In passport and in contactless payment, the BFSK is used. So what we have discussed today? We have discussed BFSK demodulation. Next we discussed ASK and the BFSK comparison. So which one is advantageous? Obviously, BFSK is advantageous due to less probability of the error, as it is our main motto of modulation. Now, we discussed advantage of the BFSK. Lastly, we discussed BFSK disadvantage and application of BFSK. That's all for this segment. Practice the BFSK demodulation blocks repeatedly. Thank you, students. Bye.